that. Unmute game. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Turn 1. I'm Sean Fitz. Tonight, the Sim 500 Daytona 500X live on Turn 1 here. Tyler Dalton on the front row. Mark Jorgensen Jr. They got through the qualifying duels. Didn't have to race. They put the top times on the board, and now they are ready to go racing here at Daytona. Kicking off the Cook's Landscape Group Cup Series here on Turn 1. We're excited you're with us. Mark Jorgensen, Tyler Dalton on the front row. The green flag is out. We're racing at Daytona. Heading off into Turn 1. Side by side as they hit Turn 1 for the first time here. These cars are going to take a little while to get up to speed, and it's going to be a long race tonight. A lot of new drivers know they have got to take their time here. 117 laps. We saw those duels really get sporty last Monday night. First one went green flag for the whole 40 laps. The second one brought out some cautions, and these drivers know they've got to be out front when it matters most. But to be able to do that, they've got to keep the car on the track. And right now, the driver of that 88, Mark Jorgensen Jr., is going to take an early lead here as they roll through 3 and 4 on that outside line. He's got the 51 of Justin Fuller right there with him in that Toyota. And both those names very notable in this Cook's Landscape Group Cup Series, as they're going to bring through here. Lap number 1 in the books. Coming down the short chute here to Turn 1. So many storylines out of this Cook's Landscape Group Cup Series with Sim 500. A notable powerhouse of talent. We've got the Fullers, the Jorgensen Juniors, the Schildhouses, and many others here tonight looking to bring home a really nice purse at the end of this evening here, to bring home a checkered flag. And right now, Mark Jorgensen Jr. on the front row, making it look pretty good here. He's got that 3-car pull away on that outside line. They'll eventually slide down. Jorgensen, no stranger to really running at the top here, or really running top level results at these super speedways. We've talked to him many times in Victory Lane. And as he likes to say, probably has that smoking hot wife sitting at home, or sitting there waiting for him to bring home that checkered flag here. All said and done. These cars firmly up to speed at this point. And again, that top 4 right there, just single filed out. Now top 5. That's going to include the likes of, obviously, we talked about Fuller. That's got Chad Coleman. He's in that 38 car, running 3rd right now. Zach Roethlisberger is also up there. He's up 6. Justin Knobloch, he's up 11 so far here tonight. But the fastest lap so far this evening is coming out of that 81 car, Josh Parker. He's running back there around 10th. He's able to take advantage. And it looks like we've got, oh no, it looked like there's some smoke here, but no, everybody's 3 and 4. But Josh Parker taking advantage of that pack and really bringing in some of that top speed right there in the middle. As hopefully our producer can hit that top car back there, back up front as we see this battle for the lead. There we go. Up front as Fuller is sitting right to the Jorgensen, but we're starting to see that bottom line really start to mature. Led by that, goodness, that is that tide scheme there on the bottom. Now alongside Justin Fuller to the left inside quarter panel. We're working that inside left line, starting to come back to fruition. Really, it'll be interesting to see what Fuller does here long term. We've talked to Justin Fuller many times here on Monday nights and seen him bring home some checkered flags. Well, tonight, he's going to have a partner in crime with him, and who's that going to be? As Jorgensen starts to look down just a little bit down the backstretch. Didn't make any firm moves here. And again, that 3-car breakaway with Chad Coleman riding 3rd. Really continued to make that bottom line look strong. Side by side as they work 3 and 4 here. This is the style of racing you get at Daytona. The super speedway package. Bumper to bumper. 2x2x2 for 20 rows back. A full field here tonight. Looking to kick off the Cook's Landscape Group Cup Series on Turn 1. On that outside line, let's look a little bit further through the pack. And we look at Wilson, he's sitting 5th right now. Again, that inside line starting to come to roost with a little bit of speed here. Gerald Livingston right now is running 8th. Donnie Leah is running 9th. Josh Parker, Tyler Dalton, our pole sitter. Tyler put down a record lap here for him, and he knew what he needed to run here tonight. But I don't think Tyler Dalton expected to be this far back in traffic so early. Again, he did not have to race his way through the duels. And that is an advantage and a disadvantage all in the same, because as your pole sitter here, he didn't have to worry about where he was going to kick this race off. And he started up front, but that means he did not get a whole lot of laps on track. That inside line starting to come alongside Jorgensen. This is again another run, and that group really seems to have it together on the front stretch. But down the back stretches is where Jorgensen gets Fuller and Coleman lined up, and they start to drive away quite a bit. Fuller now looking to the outside. Oh, Jorgensen's going to move down. What a block out of the 88 of Mark Jorgensen Jr. He's going to move down, take the air off that car. The 51 was actually going to come around the outside, and that was Fuller. He was going to make a power move with or without the 88, so the 88 moved down. Now the 88 is picked up. Richard Beasley there. That's in the 10 car. That's that Tide machine on the inside. And now that inside line starts to move so far. A power player up front. And the first 8 laps. Jr. now leading the bottom. And all of a sudden, the driver, the 51, sitting on that outside line, he is not looking like he is in the best possible position, because that inside line is on the move. That's now 4 or 5 cars by that outside group. That's Brock Wilson, Gerald Livingston, Tyler Dalton, Robert Ferretti III, and then Justin Kleebler in the 34, all on it inside. And all of a sudden now, and it just takes 2 laps to make it happen, we have a 6-7 car stretch now on the bottom, all being led by the 88 of Mark Jorgensen Jr. Let's take a moment here while we've got an opportunity to ride on board, and let's look through the scoring line. Let's go right on board with Kevin DeBrown. Kevin right now in the 93. He's working his way up through the top 10 as he riding in that outside line a lap around Daytona. We were riding on board with DeBrown, and he started to make some moves on that bottom line. He brought 3 cars with him. That included our pole sitter, Tyler Dalton, running 3rd on that inside line. The outside, though, is right back up there. That's got Parker with him. Justin Fuller, Jorgensen, Chad Coleman, Richard Beasley. All these names starting to flip back and forth here as they come across the start-finish line. So far here tonight, 11 laps complete. We are closing in on, well, goodness, 10% complete here at Daytona. And as some of these drivers will tell you, it is so easy to just get completely impatient with restrictor plate racing. It is so easy to just look around and want to make some moves and get up there and lead some laps, as we're starting to see that actually come to fruition. Who is that? That is Josh Parker in the 81. He's going to move down, take that air off the nose of the 93 of the Brown on the bottom line. It is so easy to get lost in this all and not want to go up there and lead laps. But you've got to stick to a strategy here, and you've got to also have some partners in this style of racing. Because if you don't, you will not be in the prime position if you last the night, survive the night. You will not be in the prime position to take home the checkered flag. And you've gotta just be real strategic with the moves here, as DeBrown glued to the bumper of Josh Parker. This is the type of racing you're going to see all night tonight. Some folks moving back and forth, maybe getting the run, going to the front, then going all the way to the rear. And you may ask yourself, well, why do you want to do that? Well, it's all about being smart. If you can't be on the point here, if you can't be in the top 3, top 4, top 5, do you want to be back there in the middle of 25 other drivers? Not really. And you've got some drivers back here that are doing that strategy. They're laying back quite a bit. I'm talking about Nelson Rivera. I'm talking about Anthony Calatoni. Anthony Calatoni is running 25th right now. We know the driver of the 84 has got a ton of speed, but he's sitting way back there in the 20s. We're also talking about Joey Jatina, the boss man, the 14 car. He's running 28th right now. Troy Haight, we know he's fast. He's also back there rotting around. You've also got some folks like Cody Harris in the 28 car. He's riding 41st right now. Really far back here, and he's just hanging out. He just wants to hang on to the draft as much as he can, but what he's doing is giving himself plenty of room to slow down if something bad starts to develop in front of him. If some of these drivers start to lose a little bit of patience, he wants to be able to have the time to get checked up. Going back up front, still side by side as they work through 1 and 2. And so far, some clean racing, but we have seen a lot of activity here at the top. And right now, DeBrown on the point. On that inside line, he's got Josh Barker, Andrew Cootie up here, Richard Beasley, Brock Wilson, as I've talked about. He's up 9 spots, but really the star of the show for us, that 87 Chevrolet of Andrew Cootie. He is sitting right now up 40 spots in 5th, making a run through the field here. That driver, it sounds like, or at least it looks like, he's got a strategy. He wants to get up front quick here and stay near the front. You've gotta, if you're gonna go that route, you've got to lean into it pretty hard. And right now, that 87 is pretty much past everybody on track, all but the last 4 drivers, as he's leading. Or tried to work his way up to the front point here. 15 laps in to 117 laps here for the Cooks Landscape Group Cup Series Daytona 500X here on Turn 1. Again, hello everybody, I'm Sean Fitz. Thanks so much for being here. Really excited to be calling this race with you all. And Cody DeBrown leading here. He's led some laps, but we've had a mix of drivers on the point so far here tonight. We have seen Mark Jorgensen come up here. We've seen Justin Fuller really do some moving. Cody DeBrown's been up here. Josh Parker's led a lap or 2. A lot of different names so far here tonight. Pit stops going to come into effect around lap 40, lap 45. They're going to have to stop at least twice here tonight to get the whole way through this race. And you know, those no restrictor plating racing, no, you're going to have some partners, you know, through each one of those stops. And, well, now's the time to start thinking about that, right? Some of these drivers came into this race and they had a strategy planned out. They know they want to pit here and here. They've got everything mapped out. They've got their teammates in line. They know who they're going to come down pit road with. They've even practiced that for some of these drivers. But there's others that come into it. They'll turn 4 laps in practice and call it good. We'll see how the race shakes out. It's a long one. These drivers are going to be on track here for probably close to 2.5 hours. And they know everything. All the variables could change in a blink of an eye as we're starting to see that front line come apart. Who was that running in 5th back there? I believe that was Beasley in the 87. Things got a little sporty there. They got it checked back up and sorted out, but we saw them start to overlap one another on an inside line as they came down the backstretch. They've got it figured back out. And now they're side by side here, but that's going to slow up that inside line a little bit. You see those gaps between those cars. That is actually not ideal. You do not want to see those gaps. That means that everybody's on different speeds and whatnot, but you're also seeing it on the outside line. They're not nose to tail, really pressed together. And, you know, you're going to see these drivers really want to keep things really close, as that's really the fastest way around these restrictor plate racetracks here at Daytona, Talladega, and you even see it at Atlanta. But right now, it's still very early in this game, as you see right there. That's, again, nose to tail for, oh goodness, what is that? We'll call that 12, 14 rows back. It's really tight. And some of these drivers, you know, back here running in that 10th, 12th place, they really have nowhere to go. We talk about Chad Coleman. Remember, he was leading earlier. Dylan Jones David Schildhouse, the 20. You know what? Let's ride on board. David Schildhouse, he's got that 20 car wound up. And I'm sure the children are watching over on Twitch as we take a lap here around Daytona. Working these laps here at Daytona, we see how tight it can get back here, and it's really starting to pick up all of a sudden. Now, third line starting to materialize just a little bit. They're all the way up against the wall there. I can't quite see who that is up there. That's 2 or 3 positions up from where we were with David Schildhouse. If we can hopefully get the camera moved up there. But, yeah, those drivers right there just cruising on that outside line. 3 wide, and that's, I believe that's Mark Jorgensen right in the middle of that. No, that's not Mark. I'm not sure who else that is up there. But anyway, that is the 5 car. And then obviously, yep, that is the 5 car there. That's Justin O'Block, Bobby Wetzel, and a couple others starting to make that third line materialize. And Daytona, you can run 3 lines here. But you really got to have it really tight together to be able to do that. Talladega, we'll see races run for 20, 30, 40 laps with 3 10-car packs or 3 lines of 10 cars each. That is absolutely something that's possible. But here at Daytona, things are just a little more narrow. The cars tend to get a little more unstable here at Daytona, so you don't see as much running above that white striped line. You see right there on the very bottom of that, and he's hearing from his spotter, that 2 car. That is Robert Ferry III. He's hearing that you're 3 wide on the bottom, 3 wide on the bottom, and just continuously hearing it, and his knuckles are getting wider and wider and wider. They get it sorted out, no longer 3 wide, and he is taking a sigh of relief. Meanwhile, we've got a new leader back up front again. That's Josh Parker. He's back to the point. He's got Kevin Brown with him. These two look like they're working with each other just a little bit. Josh Parker, no stranger to fast race cars. He really enjoys putting on shows here in the Sim 500 group. Last season, we saw him really put on some pretty strong performances, but really what he's lacked is a true consistency, and I think he would tell you that. He doesn't feel like... He's a lot like a lot of these other drivers, where he doesn't feel like he's got a good firm grip on this car. And obviously the Sim 500 Cooks Landscape group man, I tell you, this is high caliber talent up here. You know, and a lot of drivers that expect to come in here and can win every week. So Josh Parker holding himself to the highest standard he possibly can. I would say is tough on himself at times. And well, tonight, right now, showing he's got the speed at Daytona. Parker up front on the point with the help of the 93 in the Brown. Another driver looking really quick here. That's the 10 of Richard Beasley. I don't know if I've heard or raced a whole lot around with Richard, but right now he's sitting in that 3rd place position. He's been up there quite a bit here tonight so far, and that driver, he has worked himself up the running order, only up about 5 spots, but showing that he's got the pace and he wants to stay to the point. You heard me talk about some of the strategies that these drivers want to take on occasion. Well, Richard is one of those that want to stay close to the front. I'm sure in his mind he feels like he's out of as much danger as he possibly can be, being 3-5 cars back from the point. And that's what the choice you have to make as a driver. What do you want to do? How do you get up there, or how do you get into a place where you can reduce your level of risk? And you're certainly not going to do that running 10th with nowhere to go when things get going tough. But right now, Richard Beasley riding on the bottom, third car in that bottom line, working out of 1 and 2. We got cars coming down pit road. I'm not sure who that was that broke off. Let me go take a look here. That looks like that was Gerald Livingston. He came down pit road, the solo pit by himself, so I'm not sure what that calls for. That's a very interesting move. I wouldn't expect to see these drivers. Oh, we've got a couple cars down pit road. That's Livingston coming down here. I would not expect to see these too many cars. We'll go back live here on the field, but I would not expect to see too many folks pitting this early. But nonetheless, Livingston's going to come down pit road and be one of the first drivers to take pit stops here early tonight at Daytona. And there you have it. We're going to see the rest of the field break off. That's Josh Parker, Kevin DeBrown. They got to get checked up pretty hard. Lockup smoke coming from those cars. That's a third car going to join them. It looks like that is the 87 is going to come down pit road with them. So now we go back up to go back out front, and new leader Richard Beasley in that 10 car. And he's got it single filed out. It looks like that's the 88 of Mark Jorgensen Jr. right there with him. Tyler Dalton, our pole sitter's moved up to that third place position. And pit stop starting early here tonight. Really not shocked about this, obviously, but lap 27 feels a little early for some of these guys. Maybe there's a window they're trying to all get into. Who knows what it could shake out to, as Beasley's going to duck down pit road. He's going to go deep to the inside. That's going to give Jorgensen plenty of straight line room. It looks like this is going to be a much bigger group. Majority of the field's going to come down here. This is going to be Beasley, Fuller, Jorgensen, Donnie Leak, Jason Karlovage, Logan Koger's going to hit pit road. Steve Vest, Doug Roth, a bunch of others, all getting these pit stops rolled back up, and we go, or getting these pit stops kicked off. As we go back up front, it looks like Tyler Dalton's still on the racetrack. Oh, we got to clear sideways! Several cars wrecking here down the backstretch. Nelson Rivera looks like he was involved in that, and a couple others. Let's go take a look here. That started right there on the point, and that looks like that involved Tyler Dalton. And I believe that was Nelson Rivera. Those two finding contact. And man, what a disappointing outcome for Tyler Dalton, our pole sitter, getting caught up. And this is going to shake some things up on the pit stop side of things. We're going to step aside and sort all this out, our poles that are involved. And the first caution here tonight, as we are at Daytona for the Sim 500 Daytona X, or 500X, here on turn 1. Back live here at Daytona, and yeah, some developments here. Obviously, some cars a lap down, having to cycle through this stop, and I do want to thank the Atomic Burrito 81 on YouTube chat. Thanks so much for reminding me here. These drivers, they are limited to a 65% fuel capacity. So even though they could take another 35 gallons, they cannot, or they theoretically could fit another 35% of fuel on board. This race dictates that they can only go up to 65%, so that's why we're seeing pit stops right around lap 25, 28, and we'll continue to see that here tonight as they get ready to go back green flag racing. Some more pit stops cycle through than what you normally would here at a restrictor plate race. Meanwhile, up front, the 45 and the 15, that's Brock Wilson, Zach Roethlisberger, Josh Parker, Robert Finney, the third, row 2, David Schildhouse sitting in row number 3, and then it's Nelson Rivera. He is in that 22 car, came down pit road here with the rest of this group, and he is going to restart in that third row. Then it's Justin Fuller, Donnie Leah, Mike Montesi, Chad Coleman, your top 10. As, again, we get ready to go back green flag racing. This will be the first restart of the night. Tires, not necessarily a factor here at Daytona, but that fuel load is. These cars are going to feel a little tighter as they get ready to go back here green flag. Pace car down pit road, side by side, and they're ready to go into the restart zone. The green flag back out. The Daytona 500X back live on turn 1. Down off into turn 1 they go, and these drivers really having to mind their P's and Q's, work through this field really carefully. Again, this is the first restart of the night, so everybody's trying to get used to who's going to go, when, where, and how, and you see this field really spread out as they come down the backstretch. But right now, really, that front group, that's Zach Roethlisberger and the 2, they have moved down to the inside. They've got connected up, and then here comes a new player up into that top 3 situation. And, man, that is the 20 car of David Schildhouse on the outside line. No stranger to leading laps on a Monday night Sim 500 race. David Schildhouse right now running the tip of the spear on that outside group. Looking to come up here and lead a lap or 2 around Daytona. Ooh, getting a little loose there on the inside. Moving up, maybe trying to stall that lane out, but here comes Schildhouse. He has got the 12 right along with him. That's Donnie Leah. Oh, and the caution's out. Let's see if we can take a look and find out what brought caution number 2 out. Oh! There was a car down on the apron, and then come up and collect several drivers involved here. And that, unfortunately, is going to bring out the caution number 2 of the night for this group. That looked like somebody got down on the apron and then moved back up the racetrack. We'll take one more look at this replay, maybe from our camera 2 on track. We'll see if we can get that queued up as the pace car comes out to collect the rest of this field up. That's David Schildhouse sitting in the lead here. Coming? Nope, that's not that's the caution flag. We want to see the actual accident there. The TV truck's getting it figured out. Yeah, it's that green car that I can't quite make out there was, oh, and then blocked the track there. So either way, looked at was pretty low, got loose, and then came up and then just collected a bunch of cars, nowhere real to go. And that's going to bring the second caution of the night out. Again, this Cook's Landscape Group Cup Series live here on turn 1 for the Sim 500 Daytona 500X here. And glad you're with us. I'm Sean Fitz. This is, for right now, just a single night thing. Joey Jatina asked us if we jump in, cover the duels, and cover the race. We're excited to be here. I don't suspect we will see well, right now, not committed to any other Cook's Landscape Group Cup Series racing on Monday night. But if you'd like to see us call these races live, feel free to reach out to Sim 500. Let them know you want to see turn 1 back in the hot seat and call some of these races. Speaking of, we've got some more racing action coming up Thursday night. That's right. The NC811 Limited series comes back to you live on turn 1, 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central. Looking forward to that. But a great group and great exciting racing up and down the racetrack each and every Thursday night here for the last month or so. And looking forward to calling that series off for the remainder. Well, I think we go all the way out to June on that schedule. So either way, you're going to want to get it connected. Subscribe, like, do what you need to. We are 2 subs away from 200 on YouTube. That is a big number considering we started over from everything about a year and a half ago. And well, we appreciate the support. And if you're new here, do us a favor, like the stream, subscribe if you haven't. We'd love to see you. We're going to step away for 90 seconds under caution for the second time. David Schildhouse leads. You're watching Turn 1. David Schildhouse sitting on the front. The Atomic Burrito 81 still hanging out in chat and may or may not be on the box for one of these drivers in the field tonight. Well, Atomic, we appreciate you tuning in. Thanks for being here with the Turn 1 crowd. Watching the Sim 500 Cooks Landscape Group Daytona 500X right here alongside Turn 1 Broadcasting. David Schildhouse back on the point, and he has got Zach Roethlisberger on the inside. Donnie Leah, Chad Coleman, Robert Ferry, the top 5. Pace car back down pit road.
Green flag, green flag.
Back up to speed they go. Back restrictor plate racing here at Daytona. Side-by-side moves 1 and 2. It's going to take about 2 laps to get up to speed, and you're seeing that outside line Who is that? That is Roethlisberger on that outside group trying to make some moves here. Maybe side draft David Schildhouse just a little bit, and it's starting to pay off. The two, they've got a big run together. That's Richard Beasley up there. Can they get clear of the 20 car? That's when we'll see these drivers in that top line move down, take that bottom line away, because here comes the freight train led by David Schildhouse. Again, that bottom line not as well organized. The outside's got the push, but Schildhouse on the roll here. We're going to complete lap in green, and you know, I don't want to jinx it, but usually once you get a lap or two under your belt after a restart of the restrictor plate, everybody starts to settle in. And now these cars really starting to get up to speed as they work the corner here. And you see there, Roethlisberger moves down, takes the air off the 20 car. That's going to give that lead to that outside line up to Chad Coleman out of nowhere. Bad Chad Coleman. He's now going to move down to the bottom, and that's going to create a little bit of a gap here. He's going to tow Roethlisberger up onto the inside. Beasley's going to be on the outside by himself. Now Coleman slides up. He wants to lead both lines. He's going to go back up there and pick up that outside line. That's going to give Roethlisberger back to the point on the inside. A little bit of draftsmanship here. And that is Chad Coleman. Not a whole lot of folks, especially with this next-gen car, will try to balance both lines. You won't see that a ton here with these guys because it is really hard to do. It's hard to really hold off these runs, and then obviously you're doing, you know, you can really do it, but it's got to be under the perfect circumstances. And so far, both these lines have been a little unorganized, as we see three wide racing back there around row 8, row 9, and they're starting to get a little sporty back there and form up that outside line. As Beasley is right to the bumper of Chad Coleman. Chad's going to move down. He's going to try to bring the tow here of Roethlisberger. Meanwhile, that outside third line really starting to get a group of cars together. That's 5, 6 cars now there. Not really tight bumper to bumper with one another, but certainly on the move. Who is that? That is a 51, a Fuller out there. He's got some help. Really driving down this backstretch, making that outside third line work. It's hard to see with the camera. That's the 91. Who is in that 91 car tonight? I bet you that is Wesley Donaldson. I believe that's the WBD diecast 91 of Donaldson. We've seen him up front leading some laps here in the Cook Escape Group Cup Series. Well, he's attached to the bumper of the 51 car, and all of a sudden they're moving forward. New leader Richard Beasley on the bottom here. I believe that is Kevin DeBrown right there with him. Chad Coleman to settle back in the third. All of a sudden, you see this outside line. They moved down. They cleared the leader of Zach Roethlisberger, and they're on the move. That's all being led by the 10, then the 93, and then the 38 of Chad Coleman. All making some movement happen here on that inside groove. They've single filed out. They're right tucked next to each other. You'll see that really close tucked bumper. You can't even fit a third of a car there between those two drivers, or those three drivers. They are on the move forward. You saw that it looked like DeBrown had a really strong push here off Beasley, pushed Beasley way out there. And again, this is not the fastest way. DeBrown's going to have to drag that foot a little bit, drag the brake, maybe even, he's obviously only about 3/4 throttle, maybe even half, to just hold on to that draft, but you've got to feather it. And, you know, especially if you're not talking to these drivers, you know, some of these folks are in Discord channels together and working with one another to make this racing look so much more simpler than it is. But these three right now, you know, if they some of these drivers won't be in a Discord channel with everybody else in the field, and they are just reading the room, reading what's going on. Did the driver slow? Where's his fastest line at? Where's he smooth at? He's probably smoother in 3 and 4 than 1 and 2. So you know, you can really shove them off into the corner. Other folks don't want to be touched in the corner. Some folks don't want to be touched on the tri-oval. It's really bumpy down there on the bottom of this tri-oval here at Daytona, and that is certainly a factor for some of these guys, especially late in the run, where you start to make some moves. You know, where do you elect to do it? On the bottom or the top? And there's all sorts of handling characteristics and little nuances here at Daytona that can play a factor in that decision. Looking a little further back, that's David Schildhouse. He's picked up that outside line tow. Here comes the 12 as well. They're working forward. We have seen this. We've seen this movie before. Zonnie and Leo right there with him, working that outside groove. They've got a couple other cars there. Again, that third line starting to fizzle out, and all but 2 or 3 cars up there. So I wouldn't expect a whole lot of movement out of that third line right now. But some of these drivers showing that it's viable to run up there. Meanwhile, David Shieldhouse, he's got the 12 glued to the bumper. And trying to sort out who that is right behind Shieldhouse. Looks like that's a 4 car right there. Oh, sorry, that's not the 4 car there of Mike Montesi. Ah, yes, Mr. Montesi behind the 12. Third car in line on that outside group, and I should have. I don't know why I didn't even think about that. That's Montesi. He's got sharp paint schemes. He's going to move up to that third line. Maybe looking for a little bit of a tow, a little bit of a push around the 12 and then the 20. As that third line all of a sudden picks up 5 or 6 cars. And, you know, we were just talking about a lap ago, that third line fizzling out, and all of a sudden now they're back at play. Well, that's just how fast things can change here at Daytona. Back up front, Richard Beasley continues to lead. He's got Kevin DeBrown with him, as well as Chad Coleman. These guys making it look pretty easy. We were talking a little while ago about lap times, or I'm sorry, pit stops, and what that's going to equate to. Well, keep in mind, these drivers here were back down pit road on lap 29. So we are coming up here on 20 laps of racing action here on these pit stops, and some of these drivers are going to have to make some decisions. When do you come down? Now, obviously, I think we had some checker flag laps there in some of those laps. As a matter of fact, I know we did. So really, I would expect to see some of these guys start to stretch this fuel run all the way out to lap number 60 or so, and maybe try to get this race to 2 full stops. Others may want to come down early and bet on the caution, and just depending on the strategies here, as they all start to fan out. Beasley out front here by half a car length over the 93. While we've got the opportunity and, things are relatively civil, let's ride on board somebody through a field. Well, let's actually do that with the 22 of Nelson Rivera. He's sitting back there quite a bit, involved in a little bit of a scuffle here earlier with Tyler Dalton. Of the 22, Nelson Rivera running around on that bottom line. Let's take a lap at Daytona. You saw we rode on board there with the 22. Back up front, though, the story remains the same. That's Richard Beasley out there. He's got Kevin DeBrown. We need to have a front view there. Cameraman, we need to... There we go. That's DeBrown, Coleman. They continue to lead 1, 2, 3 up front. And then Zach Roethlisberger's there, but then Schildhouse still trying to make a name for himself on that outside line. He's got the 12 with him as they work here around Daytona. We're quickly closing in on the halfway point here tonight of this race, and I'm excited to be here with this group, calling Daytona one of my favorite racetracks, but not really because of really anything other than just the nostalgia here. As the 12, he sees it, he's out there on that outside line, and look who else that is. That's the red and white paint scheme of the 95. We got a car on the wall. Big wreck. Well, hopefully we pan over there. Cody Harris, or, okay, we'll do that too. There we go. And this all started, and this is going to be some fast drivers involved in this wreck. That's the 88 of Jorgensen sliding down there as well. I believe Jorgensen, obviously Stoney Benfield. Looks like Joey Jatina may have been involved in that. Let's take one more look here at the replay. This all starting here around turn 3 and 4. And the 22 making contact, and that's not a good angle there. Anyway, we'll go back live under caution here for a time again at Daytona. You're watching turn 1. Another caution here coming to a close as we're closing in on halfway for the Sim 500 Cooks Landscape Group Cup Series Daytona 500 here on turn 1. Zach Roethlisberger out front, Kevin DeBrown, Josh Kleber, Robert Petty III, Richard Beasley, Chad Gilman, Josh Parker, Donnie Leah, Brock Wilson, and Mike Montesi, your top 10. Remember, what I was talking about, all that pit strategy? Well, guess what? It is all out the window here. The entire field taking advantage of this caution coming down pit road. So, obviously, that means we're going to see... this is actually going to make some interesting strategy calls here, depending on how these cautions fall. We'll see them come down pit road on lap number 78, probably, and then we'll see another pit stop happen. It's going to happen around, oh goodness, I can't do quick math like that. I would say about a lap 100, maybe a little past that. But does somebody try to save a little bit of fuel? Well, we're going to find out. Green flag back out. We're racing again here at Daytona. The 45 of Roethlisberger out front on the point here on the inside line. He's got the 2 here with him, and all of a sudden we've got a couple new players here in this top 5. That's Donnie Leah, obviously Kevin DeBrown's been up here, but the 34 of Justin Kleber, he started in 7th. Well, he's running 6th right now. Mike Montesi's up here. So we've got some new names as they're all starting to jockey around everybody. These cars looking a little more unstable on this restart. And keep in mind, as I talked about, we are closing in on the halfway point here tonight. And they are really, really fighting to get into position. All that give and take you heard, well, it's out the window. It's time now to start really figuring out what you've got. You've also got some pit stops you need to take strong consideration of and start building some strategies around, because the laps are going to wind down here very quickly. That third line starting to materialize just a little bit. We got cars on the apron. They're under a little bit of, or slowing down just a little bit. I believe that's Mark Jorgensen Jr. on that high line. It is, in that 88 car. He's got the 87 with him. Both these drivers have been tangled up into some cautions here so far tonight, but right now, looking pretty strong on that outside line. The strongest we've seen a 3-car pull take place there on that outside groove. What an impressive show of force there on that outside as DeBrown picks up with the 10 and moves around here the 45. But here comes Mark Jorgensen Jr. on the outside line. I don't know if any stream can handle an interview with the 88 here tonight, but I'm willing to give it a shot. And, well, to do that, you got to be in the top 3. Mark Jorgensen Jr. right now, he wants to be on that top spot. Oh, he's gonna lose all the support he had. That was the 87 moving up to the high line, picking up that third line once again. Now it's going to orphan there Jorgensen Jr. on that middle line. And now the 87 out front, and he's got nowhere safe to go there. He is not going to be able to slow any runs. He's just going to let the 88 pull up to him. Now Jorgensen's going to dive to the inside. He's going to be a lot faster here than he knew that. Now he's to the inside, but now Jorgensen doesn't have a ton of support. Here comes, who is that to the, what is that, the 80 and the 90 car there? That's Daniel Eberhardt. We have not talked about that driver all night here tonight. Riding around right there behind Jorgensen Jr. That's the first time we've mentioned his name all night long. Here up here running 3 wide for the lead. As I talked about, action is picked up now. Side by side, that's Jorgensen Jr. And then Eberhardt all of a sudden on the move. On that inside, he wants to lead him a lap. He's got Kevin DeBrown on the bumper. Jorgensen on the outside, he's got the 51, I believe. Yep, that is the 51. That is the 51. That is Justin Fuller. And Fuller, he's looking for a victory to kick off the season. He'd like to. And disappointing into last race, or the last year's season with the Cooks Landscape Group Cup Series. Fuller had a really strong, dominating summer as we saw the 20 car of David Schildhaus really lose the momentum. Fuller will be the first to tell you he doesn't like the car, but he had something figured out. But unfortunately, down the playoff stretch, just did not have the runs he needed. And right now, he's hopefully not thinking about that too much. He just wants to be able to bring home a checker flag here tonight and kick off the 2026 Cooks Landscape Group Cup Series with a victory. Out front, the 87 car continues to lead there. Andrew Cody in that machine. Again, qualified back here, I believe almost last. I show him up 44 spots in the field. And worked his way forward. Has been running that outside third line a little bit. And now up here to the front. Leading that inside group. He's got DeBrown with him, who's been up here. He's also got Beasley on the inside. We see some Beasley fans in the YouTube chat here tonight, cheering on that 10 Tide machine, trying to get it done. Here as we're working past halfway for the Sim 500 Daytona 500X. Right here on turn 1. Hello, everybody. I'm Sean Fitz. Thanks so much for being here. We got some help in the booth here tonight, able to bring you this race. It takes a team effort to put all this together, and it takes a team effort to be able to bring home a solid finish here at Daytona. DeBrown is no stranger to that. He has been picking up and dropping teammates all night long. And right now, he's on the nose of Eberhardt on the move here, but now Eberhardt's going to go to the inside. DeBrown is going to get picked up by the 51. Eberhardt's going to lose momentum. He has nobody with help. They're also got to work around some lap traffic. What a shove here comes the 87 alongside that inside line. Meanwhile, DeBrown, Fuller, Jorgensen Jr., what a powerhouse group. Now pair it up on that outside line. DeBrown down now back to the bottom. That's where we have seen him do most of his magic here tonight. All the way through 1 and 2 to Brown. Making it look relatively easy here. And all of a sudden, 4-car single filed out. We talked about that power couple that was on that outside line with Jorgensen, Fuller, and DeBrown. Well, DeBrown moved back down. We're going to start to see some pit stops have to be part of the equation here in about 10-15 laps. Everybody's got to pick a partner so they can go down pit road. Hopefully we see some green flag stops here tonight. We were on the way to see those before that first caution came out. Really split the field here. Now everybody back on the same pit strategy as last time down pit road for this set of drivers. Lap number 51. So really well past halfway into the fuel run here tonight. Again, keep in mind 65% fuel load for these drivers. And that means they're going to have to stop at least 2 more times. But it is going to be tight as of now. I think we'll see them come down pit road 75 to 80. And that's going to leave 35 to go. They're going to have to come down once again. There's really no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But if anybody wants to save some, maybe now's the time those conversations are happening. We're starting to see really folks start to single file out quite a bit. If you want to save some fuel, now's the right time to be doing it. And it's not about a fuel mileage race per se. It is all about the time in the box. That is a critical factor. And when you have the talent here where these drivers is so tight that, you know, a second and a half or a little bit less can make a large difference on racetrack, especially if you've got others around you doing something very similar. Well, right now here at Daytona, and we're going to see actually DeBrown out front quite a bit, and then that's man, that was a weird move. I'm not quite sure what was going on. Maybe Eberhardt was starting to overheat a little bit on that inside groove. I don't know if that's a real concern with these machines here with these next gen cars at Daytona, but Really, that inside line starting to scatter out just a little bit. While we've got an opportunity, let's ride on board. He'll be a true fan of this. We'll pick the 88, and that is Mark Jorgensen Jr., the outside on the nose. Let's ride on board with the 88 car around Daytona. Oh no! Spun Jorgensen! That's gonna collect a ton of cars through the tri-oval. A bunch of cars involved, and the caution's gonna be out for the 4th time as we rode on board the 88. Let's see if we could get a quick look at the replay here. Many cars involved there. And maybe we can just hit the rewind button a couple times. Let's see if we can do that versus hitting a replay, because I tell you what, I'm not quite sure what materialized here as the smoke settling and Jorgensen down on the bottom of the racetrack. Yeah, back live here. Either way, that's okay. Caution out, and many drivers involved here. That's Charles Woods, Jorgensen involved. Gerald Livingston, I show involved in this as well. A lot of drivers, a lot of quick drivers involved, and that's going to bring the caution out here once again. We'll go back up front. Your leader, Kevin DeBrown, is going to have some decisions to make on pit strategy. We'll talk all about that and more when we come back. You're watching Turn 1. Pace car back down pit road. And, well, pit stop's wrapped up here. Green flag back out to Brown and Beasley. Get him back rolling here at Daytona. You heard me talk about it just a little while ago. Cautions can breed cautions. These first couple of laps, they're going to want to tiptoe through it all. All of a sudden, a 6-car breakaway single file led by the Brown Cleavers up there. Robert Fieri, Richard Beasley, Bobby Wetzel up here. Zach Roethlisberger and a couple others. All making this bottom line work. A 4-car breakaway. And then it's another 2 or 3 cars. And then they're back side by side. That's back there battling for about the 7th position. So we were going to talk about the pit strategy. This caution actually helped clear things up for a lot of these drivers. Right now, working lap number 70 of 117. So about another 47 laps to go. All they need to do is get to, goodness, all they got to get to basically is lap 90, and they're to the good. So not a fuel mileage race. We won't see that all come to fruition here tonight. These drivers are going to have to figure it out on track. All they got to do is come down pit road at least one more time to the attention of their crew, or at least one more time to get it done. And they'll have enough fuel to take it all the way to the very end here. On the outside line, that's Bobby Wetzel making a move here around Kevin DeBrown. He's got some help. We'll see Wetzel move down to that bottom line with Eberhardt here in just a moment. There it is, Wetzel. I knew that was going to happen. He likes to ride the bottom here at these racetracks, but that's going to leave Eberhardt on the outside. He's got Logan Koger with him. That is the first time we're calling Koger out here tonight. Chad Coleman's right there. He's been riding the ride back up here on that outside group. Again, Koger, first time mentioning that name here this evening. 25 positions up. He's going to hang on to that outside. Everybody else is going to move to the bottom, including Coleman here. And, man, that 91, I believe that's Donaldson. It is Wesley Donaldson and WBD Diecast machine. He is up to that 3rd place position. Nice to see him having a good run here tonight. Meanwhile, Eberhardt on the outside. He's going to pick up that outside line. That's going to leave Chad Coleman on the inside, but he's going to have Bobby Wetzel right there with him as they work through 1 and 2 here. These cars back up to speed. They're going to catch. I believe I saw some lap traffic. I did. They're going to have to deal with the 12 here. The 12 is going to move down below the yellow line here out of the racing line as Donaldson's going to drive to the inside. He's got the help from Kevin DeBrown. They're going to leave Eberhardt on the outside like he's sitting still. Now that 3rd car in the bottom line there, that's Justin Cleaver. He is on the way. And all of a sudden, they're getting racy up here in that bottom line in the front row. That 93 is looking really quick here tonight. I'm really impressed with his speed. He's been up here with a bunch of different cars up here at the nose, either on the point or helping somebody get up there. Kevin DeBrown is looking like he is going to have a car to beat and a strategy to beat. If he could just hang on for another 35 laps or so, he could be there at the very end and race for this win. As that bottom line is going to get out of shape a little bit, DeBrown's going to move up, pick up Eberhardt, maybe offered a little bit of a half draft, and he moves back down. Wesley Donaldson's going to lead some of his first laps of the night in the 91. A nice run for Donaldson here and putting it together when it matters. You know, when we talked about picking the right time to go and being up front versus being in the rear, Donaldson was able to avoid some of that drama earlier in the race, now leading some laps here. And we talked about, like I said, it's time to start going at this point. You do have another pit stop, so you don't want to get too far ahead of things. You don't want to get too far ahead of everybody else, but you got to really start to jockey for this, and you should be thinking about all plans. Does this go green the rest of the way? That is certainly a possibility with these Cook Landscape Group Cup Series drivers, and you've got to keep that in mind. Again, you've got to get to lap 90 to be able to have enough fuel here to finish this thing out. Some folks are going to want to see some green-white checkered field, so maybe lap 93, 94. Get you enough there, especially if there's some caution laps mixed in. Speaking of, there is going to be a caution. We've got a bunch of cars sideways across the track. Hang on to it. Oh, we got everybody having to check up here. And going to bring out the 5th caution of the night. It looks like Jason Karlovage involved. I see the 2-car off track. Let's take a look at a replay. That red and white machine of Jason Karlovage on the bottom here of the racetrack. Oh, it just looks like he got potentially left there. Man, impressive ability out of, I believe that's Cody Harris to get on the binders before it's all said and done. That rewind went back far enough. We'll have to go back one more time to take a look here. Keep an eye on Jason Karlovage right there. Yep, and he just came down. Oh, that looked like some net code. And then that looks like that was also the 16 car involved in that there. And, oh, goodness, who is running the 16? That is Brandon Garand getting tangled up with Jason Karlovage there to bring out the caution here once again at Daytona. This is going to be really interesting here. Obviously, working lap 76 right now. Got to go to 117. And if you stop right now, and maybe you stop. Oh, we got to hit play there. Go live. There we go. If you were to stop right now, or maybe even come down for a splash right before we go back green flag racing, you are still well out of range on fuel. But I suspect we'll see some of these drivers towards the rear of the field maybe take a gamble. We'll see how that all shakes out as we're under caution here once again for the Sim 500 Cooks Landscape Group Cup Series on turn 1. Pace car lights are off. They're getting ready to go back green flag racing here. And we're going to go back green flag. We'll call it between 39 and 41 laps to go. I think it's going to be closer to 39. And yeah, this is obviously not going to be enough. You're not going to have enough fuel here. You're not going to save 10 to 12 laps. Or if you could, I mean, it's going to be under many caution laps. So we'd have to see another 3 or 4 cautions, I think, before some of these cars may try to stretch it on fuel. And I don't suspect we will see that. But either way, getting ready to go back green flag racing here to Brown on the inside, Bobby Wetzel on the outside, row number 1. And then, like I said, we're starting to see some other names come up through the ranks here. Justin Kleber there. Dylan Jones. We've not mentioned that name here tonight. He's up 7 spots in that 09 car. Logan Koger's still up here. Chad Coleman, Andrew Cody, Zach Roethlisberger, Daniel Eberhardt, and David Schildhaus, your top 10. Those pace car lights are off. And Kevin DeBrown, we talked about his pace here 10-15 minutes ago. That 93 car's got it sorted out. Off into the restart zone they go. Green flag back out. We're back racing here at Daytona. A 3-car gap there for the 93. That's actually not what you want to see, because that allows the cars behind you to really catch a run. The only time it's really something you would be able to be okay with here is on these restarts. And right now the 93, he's got some help, but here comes that outside line starting to materialize. The inside's going to get tightened up, but here comes the push. That's Bobby Wetzel on the outside. You see that car a little unstable. That's, again, that is not abnormal here. These drivers just make it look really easy to get around this racetrack. You know, you see Bobby Wetzel kind of dancing around that car in front of him, trying to get kind of figured out, get the car stabilized. And now they're going to be starting to get up to speed. But again, these drivers, the Cook Landscape Group Cup Series, make this look fairly simple, fairly tame in the grand scheme of things. But you're doing at top speed, 195, 198 miles an hour, all within, you know, all within 2 to 3 feet of one another at all times. It gets tight. Man, that is the second time in 2 laps I have seen that 87 car rear up and get a huge shove down the backstretch off to that car in front of him. And that's going to really kind of cause a lag effect, a ping pong effect there on that inside line. That's Andrew Cody there hanging out on that inside line in that 87 car. But now here comes the outside line, and as I was talking about, that big run and then off the bumper, that's not the fastest way to do things. Being more consistent is, oh, they're going to get tight there at the front, nearly making contact. That's the driver on the outside, nearly making contact with the inside as they're on their way forward. That's Dylan Jones on the bumper of Bobby Wetzel. Moving forward here for the first time tonight, Daniel Jones to the point. Jones is going to move to the inside. Wetzel's getting tied on Kevin DeBrown. Jones is going to have to pick a party to go with. He's going to stay with that outside line. He's going to lead a lap here. Jones still has the help of Bobby Wetzel, but DeBrown again quick on the inside. We saw how unorganized this field was here just a little while ago, but now you see they've got it figured out, and all of a sudden that outside line has got a train going. Dylan Jones, Bobby Wetzel, and I believe that's Chad Coleman. That's bad Chad Coleman. Moving down to the bottom and finding way. A name we haven't talked about. We saw him spun, man, 20 laps ago. The 19 of Tyler Dalton, our pole sitter here tonight. Guess what? Well, he's found himself back up front. He's on the lead lap. He's got that car fixed up. And he's got to the bumper of the 38. Dalton moves to the outside now. He's going to pick the lead off here on the outside. He thinks he's got a fast piece. Meanwhile, the 91 and the 38 are linked up. That's Coleman there and Wesley Donaldson. DeBrown sitting third in line. Meanwhile, on the outside, that's Tyler Dalton, Dylan Jones, and Bobby Wetzel. Three cars lined up on that outside groove. A third line starting to materialize a little bit here. And, you know, you heard me 25 laps ago say, we'll say, you heard me say around lap 60 or so, it's time to start figuring things out. Well, guess what? It is really time to start sorting some stuff out now. We're quickly seeing laps click off here. And remember, these drivers, they've got to come down pit road at some point. We got where did Dylan Jones go? What happened to him? He's falling through the order quickly. Bobby Wetzel's doing the same. Something happened on that outside line, got them really diced up. We go back up front, but as I was talking about, the rest of these drivers, they came down lap number 76. That's not going to be enough fuel to get all the way to the very end. So who's going to be the first to break with this group? They're going to have to come down one more time before it's all said and done. About a 29 lap fuel run, 65% fuel out in these next-gen Cup cars here with this Cook's Landscape Group Cup Series at Daytona. And really going to have to work the number here as you work to find who you want to ride with in line. That bottom line of Kevin DeBrown right here on the very bottom, just hanging out again. Impressive run in the 93. I think he has pretty much been up and down this top 10 all night long, but mostly in this top 5 situations. He's led a bunch of laps. And again, he has been he's had many different partners along the way here at Daytona, and so far he's withstood them all. He's been up front here. We've seen Chad Coleman also up here. He is starting to really pick the momentum up. We saw him, get up here and do some pushing and shoving. Now, kind of hanging out behind that 93 car. This is the move I expect out of Coleman. Slow and steady. He's right here where he needs to be, but no point in striking while the iron's hot right now. He knows there's still a good bit of way to go as we see those front 2 cars move down on that bottom line. That was Tyler Dalton. He lost that help. That's Eberhardt out front, and I believe that is Josh Ball out on the point. And those two working back and forth, trying to check these lines up. Ball's going to dive to the inside. The 38's going to get a run. Eberhardt leads on the bottom. He is one of the first drivers I've seen kind of balance both lines here quite a bit. Now he's going to move down, try to take the air off the 93 of DeBrown. DeBrown's going to drive down here on the bottom. He's got a huge run here off the shove of the 38. Eberhardt trying to balance between both lines here. He doesn't want anybody to really get a run. This is also a really good time to test your theories. As drivers, you develop these theories of what can you do to stop runs, especially late in the race. But we see Eberhardt working both lines here, trying to ease up both the top and the bottom. Maybe doing a little bit of exploration of what this could look like. Come 2 to 3 to go. Tyler Dalton's going to move down. He had a huge draft. Eberhardt's going to move down, try to block, nearly making contact with our pole sitter. Tyler Dalton now has got some help. That's DeBrown glued back to the bumper of the 19. As they work through the tri-oval here. Again, laps really starting to click off. We're about 10 laps away from what we could see. What I expect to see some pit stops for the final time for this Cook's Landscape Group Cup Series here at Daytona season opener. I would say actually less than that. We'll probably see him in about 5 laps. That'll be plenty to the good. That'll include some green-white checkered potential extracurricular activities with this group. As Dalton's working the bottom here on the point. He's got DeBrown, he's got Coleman, he's got Donaldson. Coleman's going to move to the outside. He's got the 91 glued to his bumper. Donaldson went with him. Now looking on the outside of the 93 and the 19. Now these two got that run going. Here comes the extra push on the outside. Meanwhile, the bottom did not have it quite together. I expect to see Chad Coleman really about a car length and a half out in front. But no, Tyler Dalton and the 93 of Kevin DeBrown. Now DeBrown's going to drop the 19. DeBrown's going to pick it up on the outside. He's going to pick up Coleman once again. Man, what a lot of back and forth up here. Some exciting racing. Oh, DeBrown trying to move down. There was nowhere to go. Nearly making it 3 wide there in the middle. And he is going to make it 3 wide in the middle. Coleman's right there with him. That is going to be really sporty down here as we're going to start to see some 3 wide racing in the middle of this pack. And this is not what Chad Coleman wanted to see. Now he is stuck in the middle here with nowhere to go. And so is Donaldson back there in the back of that pack. So really nowhere, nothing doing. Meanwhile, back out front, Tyler Dalton to the point. The 87 all by his lonesome. He's got a 5-car gap there on the next car back. And he's going to start to slide off here. He's going to move up, try to block a run, but they're going to drive around him. Now the 87 is going to be in the middle with nowhere to go. Meanwhile, Justin Fuller in the 51. He is on his way forward. Three wide as they work through 1 and 2. Remember, I don't think we are done with pit stops as DeBrown now going to move down. He's going to be in the middle here and lead that group. He wants to get the 38. Look at where did Chad Coleman come from here? He was falling back quick and in a hurry. All of a sudden made it work on that outside line. Now that third line is going to slide down, led by Eberhardt. Working off the quarter here. DeBrown all of a sudden has got it sorted out, and he's got his friend, the 38, with him. I tell you what, what a run out of Chad Coleman. We saw him falling through the field with the 50, or sorry, with the 91 of Donaldson, and somehow back up here racing for this lead. Impressive run out of the 38 as laps continue to wind down here. Meanwhile, here comes Justin Fuller to the point, that 51 car. We're seeing a lot of folks start to make some moves forward. And he's got Jason Karlovage. Remember, we saw Karlovage 225 laps ago, sideways across the racetrack. Now he's up here in the top 10 in the final, what coming up to be the final laps of this race here. DeBrown right to the bottom. Again, he's got his buddy Chad Coleman sucked up right on the bumper. And it looks like they're going to have a little bit of help. That is the 91 of Donaldson. He has found himself back up front here as well, as they work down through 1 and 2. Coleman glued to the bumper here. And he's going to look to the outside. That car is going to drift up the track. He's going to catch it in enough time. But here comes that middle line. Is that who I think it is? It is. That is Mark. Nope. Who is that? That middle line leading that point there. Yeah, it looks like that is Mark Jorgensen Jr., but I don't think he is on the lead lap. He is not, as a matter of fact. He is a lap or 2 down. Remember, we saw Jorgensen involved in some of those cautions as well. Meanwhile, Eberhardt up to the point, trying to block both lines. DeBrown's going to make a move. I'll tell you what, kudos to that driver of the 90. He has been impressive here, holding both lines, not allowing them to get too far away from him. But, and really, that is something to be said. And some of these other drivers back here probably took some notes, because he has been making that work. He's been able to hold off both these lines at times, not obviously perfecting it. You know, you've seen him move around quite a bit, but he certainly has been one of the only drivers to really pull it off, at least somewhat consistently. And again, that is certainly something that some of these drivers has started to take note of. He's going to move down once again and take the air off that 93. He's also been paired up with that driver on the point on that outside line. Remember, that's Josh Ball. Those two have been with each other quite a bit here, and he's going to move back up once again. Josh is going to get hooked back up with him. And this is all in play here for Eberhard. He wants to be able to control both aspects of this. He wants to be able to control both runs. He wants to maintain this lead outside, inside, outside, inside. And you're seeing him do it. And all of a sudden, that inside line starts to stall out. Ball glued right to the bumper here of Eberhard down the backstretch. And they're really going to stretch out this gap here. Here comes the 16 up front as well. Got a lot of cars now, all of a sudden, working their way forward in the closing laps here tonight. Remember Brandon Garand? He was messed up. He was sideways across the racetrack. Well, now, Garand up here running in the top 5, leading that bottom group. And, you know, he may still have a little bit of damage on that car because Eberhard on that outside line is what I've heard called walking the dog. He has got that 4-car group out there free and clear on the outside. On the inside line, really nowhere for anybody to go. DeBrown is pretty much shoving the 16 for everything he's got, but not making a ton of progress there on that inside line. Oh, DeBrown's going to go backwards. Contact was made there with the 16. He's going to save it. That checked up this whole group there. That was Garand and the 93. And that checks up the whole lead pack. We go back to the front. That is what Eberhard wants to see. He can take a breath for half a lap here because everybody's going to be checked up. Josh Ball is really going to be in cruise control. He's going to take the lead here as they work out through 1 and 2. And all of a sudden, Chad Coleman, Kevin DeBrown, and a couple others, they're all further back here. Tommy Wetzel, Brandon Garand fell all the way back to 8th. A lot of drivers that we saw up here in this fast pack losing momentum. It's going to take them a couple laps to build that back up. Remember, pit stops, they're going to need fuel here. Who comes down, when, where, and how? We go through the start, or through the tri-oval. This is lap 100 right here. They will have to stop one more time. Again, these drivers back down pit road, lap number 76. So they've been out on track here about 15, 18 laps. They could go probably another 10. And what do you do as a driver if you're one of these Cook's Landscape Group Cup Series drivers? Do you want to come down pit road right now? Get your fuel early, let things shake out, let the cautions come to you? Or do you want to stay out? Maybe see if you could save a little bit. Get it close to the end. Keep the track position. Well, right now, Josh Ball is liking what he's seeing, that big mix-up about 3 or 4 laps ago. With this lead pack really is played into their favor. And we're starting to see these drivers spread out just a little bit. Maybe some fuel saving into account. A 7-car breakaway, all led by Josh Ball, Eberhard, Jones, Wilson, Josh Parker, and Kevin DeBrown back there as well. Again, some of these drivers up front all night here tonight got shaken up there when the 16 made contact with the 93. And unfortunately, breaking up this lead pack quite a bit. But, again, if you're one of those drivers, you're not overly worried. There's no reason to be, because you can get a run here in about 3 laps, be from, 33rd to 1st. So you play your cards right, you can make some moves quick. So no real reason to panic just yet. Josh Ball here on the point. On the bottom, he's got Eberhard with him. Dylan Jones, another name we've not talked much about tonight. That's Joe Hudson. Joe right now sitting in that 4th place spot. He's making himself known up here. As we've got a couple cars down pit road, it looks like Wesley Donaldson, or Tyler Dalton's on pit road. Brock Wilson, Anthony Calatoni is also going to visit pit road. So we have got green flag pit stop started, and we got a caution on the racetrack. That looks like, oh, that looks like the 93 of Chad Coleman involved in it. I'm sorry, the 93 of, that was Kevin DeBrown. Oh no, Joe Hudson, we just mentioned him. He was involved. And Chad Coleman also getting a piece of this. Let's see if we can take a look at the replay as they get back rolling. Not quite sure what happened. Coleman actually had got by that accident. We'll see if we can rewind it just a little bit here. And this is off coming down into 1 and 2. Take a look. The 93 is the 4th car there in line. Oh, he gets hooked. And I believe that is Hudson that's with him. And then it looks like somebody there. Oh, it's the 93. I'm sorry, the 38 had just got by that incident. And then got scooped up in it. Chad Coleman, maybe none too worse for wear. Either way, under caution here at Daytona. And all that pit strategy I was talking about, again, some drivers have already come down pit road, but all that pit strategy I was talking about, all for naught. Because guess what? We are under caution, and these guys are going to be able to pit and get fueled up one more time. Out front right now is Josh Ball leading here at Daytona. The laps are closing in. And the checkered flag is getting ready to wave. You're watching Turn 1. Wesley Donaldson up front, and this is going to be huge for the 91 up front here on the inside. Remember, he came down pit road. They came down pit road the lap before that caution came out, and, well, they were able to play track position in their favor. They were about 10, 15 seconds from going to lap down, but before that happened, that caution flag waved before they got past. So the 87, the 91, the 9, the 84, the 19, and then obviously the 17 of Kevin Stone, all paying off big time here when they came down pit road, stayed out of trouble, and now they've got the track position here with about 11 to go here on turn 1, the Cooks Landscape Group Cup Series Daytona 500X. Somebody's going to walk away here with some cash dollar in their pocket. And it's going to be somebody up front here. Who could it be? We're going to find out. Pace car down pit road. Wesley Donaldson, Andrew Cody, green flag back out here. That 87 got a strong restart. He's going to move down to the inside line. Donaldson's got some help. That's Wetzel. The 87 is going to move back to the outside. Maybe trying to pull some Eberhardt moves here as we take a look a little further back. That's another driver we've not talked a ton about. That's the 84 of Anthony Calatoni. He's going to take the lead on the inside. New Jersey's old Anthony Calatoni, he's off the nose of the 19. What a huge opportunity this would be for the 84 to be able to bring home a checkered flag in the first race of the year. Meanwhile, who was that? I believe that was Wetzel that slid down. No, that was Bob. That was Beasley on the bottom. And no holds barred here. 10 laps to go from Daytona. The 87 car right there on the point. He's got Beasley. He's also got Josh Ball on that outside line. Josh Ball, he's not been up here for a long time, but he's here for a good time. And guess what? Who is that? Oh, that's David Schildhouse in the 20 car. Shocker to find David Schildhouse up here. All the children tuned in and waiting to see their man, David Schildhouse, bring home a checkered flag. He's going to have a ton of opportunity here throughout this season. And right now, looking to get it done early at Daytona. He's got the 87 tightly glued to the bumper as they work down the backstretch here. And all of a sudden, it's going to break out. Green wide, Schildhouse on the bottom, Josh Ball in the middle. And then that looks like that's Eberhardt on the outside line. Across the stripe here, 8 laps to go. Here comes Justin. I believe that's Justin Fuller on that outside line as well. He's starting to make some moves. Actually, no, that's not Fuller. That's the 9. Who is that? That is Bobby Wetzel there on that outside group. Oh, I'm sorry. That is not Wetzel there. That is Dylan Jones out there. But Eberhardt back up front. Remember, we were talking about 10, 15 laps ago. He was the first driver to really show that he could control both lines here as Wetzel is going backwards behind Jones. But anyway, sorry, not Jones. Again, I believe that's the Fuller car on the outside line there. It's so hard to see. Things are happening so quick. Either way, Eberhardt, one of the first drivers to really be able to control both lines here. He's got it sorted out, but he's going to be in a little bit of a pickle here because here comes Josh Ball. Josh down to the inside, and then it's Dylan Jones on the outside. And they're going to have a bit of a gap, and that's not what you want to see. Schildhouse is going to take advantage of that on the inside. He's got the 87 and the 10 lined up behind him. They're going to come to flag. They're going to see 6 to go here at Daytona. We got cars spinning back towards the rear. It looks like Garan's involved with a couple others. still spinning in the tri-oval. And that's going to bring the caution out. Brandon Garant slow. Not quite sure what happened there. It looks like Wetzel may have got tangled up in that. Let's take a look. The 16 kind of pirouetting there down the front stretch. We'll take one more look at that if we can. Yeah, it looks like this starts back there. I believe that's Jason Carlavage on the outside line there, that white and red car. Yeah, that it started there in the middle as well. This is just end of Daytona racing here with some drivers trying to get aggressive at the last minute. And this is going to bring the caution out once again. And this won't take us to overtime, but it is going to set up to a really strong sprint to the very end. We're going to go back green flag racing with about 4 to go. We're going to step aside one more time. Under caution, Daniel Eberhardt leads. You're watching Turn 1. Yeah. They're going to go back green flag racing here with about 3 to go. Eberhardt, Ball, Jones, Schildhouse, Koger, Cody, Parker, Beasley, Donaldson, and Calatoni, the top 10. No more fuel, no more pit stops. It all comes down to this here in the last couple laps of the Sim 500 Cooks Landscape Group Cup Series Daytona 500X here on Turn 1. And, man, like I said, it all comes down to who's going to bring home the checkered flag here. Can they get this restart executed perfectly? Can Eberhardt continue to hold on to both of these lines just a little while longer? What does the 20 of Schildhouse have in store on that outside line? He's just there back one row, sitting there in that 20 car. Meanwhile, the 87's been quick all night. Beasley's up here. The 91 of Wesley Donaldson is up here as well. So the landscape of this lead pack group, what it consisted of DeBrown and Coleman, Jorgensen obviously up here early. Tyler Dalton is not that anymore. Who's going to be able to bring home this checkered flag? We're about to find out. Pace car is going to make the left-hand turn down pit road. Eberhardt's going to be the control car on the inside. Pace car off, restart zone they go. The green flag back out. Eberhardt to the point. Come across the strike, 3 to go. Eberhardt picks up the outside line. That's 5-car single file up there. Trying to build the RPMs in these cars. It's going to take a little while. Meanwhile, Schildhouse is on the bottom. He's going to use a little bit of side draft and pay close attention to that 20 car on the inside. He's going to try to make some moves. He's got Logan Koger hooked up on that inside. Meanwhile, though, Daniel Eberhardt, Dylan Jones on that outside groove. Caution out once again. Looking through it, it looks like it's back there. Brandon Graham once again involved here in an incident. And a couple other cars. I believe that's going to be spun down there in turn 4. Let's take a quick look at the replay here. Oh, that was hard hits for some of these drivers. That Bobby Wetzel also involved. See if we can get one more look at that replay. This is all happening again right there on the exit of turn 4. Our production truck having to get it all sorted out. We need to see this from the 16's perspective. It looks like that's where it's all starting here. Oh, okay, there we go. Oh, yep, there it is. And that's the 23 of Hudson involved. And I believe that's Bobby Wetzel there. He had nowhere to go as well. Unfortunate. Going to bring a caution out here once again at Daytona. And this will take us to NASCAR overtime. If you're unfamiliar with what that concept is, well, we're going to try to get this wrapped up under green flag conditions. Here tonight. We'll see how that all shakes out. We're also going to step aside for just a moment. One more opportunity to get a stretch up, because guess what? It's about to get exciting here. Once again, at Daytona, you're watching Turn 1. Pace car lights are off, and we're going to try a green-white checkered finish here. And again, let's talk about that, what that could look like for these drivers. So they're going to see the green flag wave. If they can make it all the way back around here at Daytona, they're going to see the white flag come out, and then it's a race to this checkered flag. If, for whatever reason, a caution were to come out before they see that white flag, they will re-rack it, and I believe they'll have one more attempt at a GWC, all in an effort to try to get this race wrapped up under green flag conditions. Eberhardt's been really strong up front here, leading both lines many different times here on the outside, on the outside and the inside lane. Dylan Jones here, he's been up there quite a bit as well tonight. David Schildhouse, Josh Ball, Logan Koger, Andrew Cody, Josh Kleber, Richard Beasley, Wesley Donaldson, Josh Parker, your top 10. They're going to come off the banks here, get ready to go back. Green flag racing again. These restarts are critical. You've got to get a run, but you got to have coordination with the folks around you. Eberhardt and Ball, they've been together pretty tightly here for the last couple restarts, but now Schildhouse is going to shove Eberhardt out there. Green flag back out. All of a sudden, the 20 car has got Eberhardt way out there. And the 90 car really just having to hang on for the ride. Now Schildhouse is going to try to use him as a pick. He's going to pick up Logan Koger. Logan Koger is going to go around sideways. That'll be the caution out once again. And David Schildhouse, I think, is going to be called the leader here under this caution. And Koger's just rolling back sideways. Let's take a replay. I think Koger tried to clear himself coming down the backstretch. We'll take a quick look at that as he gets that car stopped and righted. Oop, that's not a great view there, but either way, I believe what we saw there was Koger trying to come down. There wasn't any room to make it happen, and that's going to bring the caution out. Well, that's going to be it. It looks like they're going to wave the white flag. We'll go back up front. That is David Schildhouse to the point. Under caution, it looks like this is going to be it. We'll pay close attention. We'll watch the flagman as we come back around. They're going to come down the backstretch. What a night for the 20 car, regardless. A strong run for him. Daniel Eberhardt in the 90 is going to look like a sitting P2. And then Justin Kleber there. Kleber, we're running in that 34 car. Up 4 spots, running third. I believe that's how they're going to finish. Man, if this is how it all works out, this is going to be pretty intense. David Schildhouse, again, the champion from 2025, had a fantastic kickoff to the season, or had a fantastic early season last year. Had a little bit of fall off during the summer. Justin Fuller dominated this group, and then was able to come back and figure it all out and execute strong at the end of the season. This would be a massive, massive momentum shift here for Schildhouse to not only bring home the checkered flag, but guarantee himself from a points position to walk out of here the leader. We'll see what the flagman waves here as they come back by. I believe this is going to be the checkered flag. And it is going to be David Schildhouse, your winner here tonight at Daytona for the Sim 500 Daytona 500X here on turn 1. He is going to go celebrate, and we're going to get ready to call some post-race action. We'll talk to our race winner, David Schildhouse, and others here on turn 1. Stay tuned. And we'll quickly talk to our race winner here, David Schildhouse from Daytona. David, man, what a way to end the season. Last in 2025, brought home the championship. And I don't know if any of us could have seen that 20 car in victory lane here tonight at Daytona. Walk me through your evening.
Sean, good to hear your voice first and foremost. I had no business winning this race tonight. I cheated death at least a handful of times, if not more. I feel like I was involved in almost every incident on the track, somehow escaped just scot-free or close to scot-free, and then basically stole the win there on the restarts and start 2026 just like I started 2025 with the win in the Daytona 500K here at Sim 500. I can't believe it, man. This one is not one I will soon forget.
It certainly won't, but David, it's really got to set you up. Obviously, these super speedway races can go many different ways, as you alluded to, and went the right way there with the 20 car. It looked like tonight up front, those runs were pretty strong. I didn't see too many drivers able to control both lines, with the exception of Daniel Eberhardt. He was moving back and forth quite a bit. You mentioned you didn't have any business up here winning tonight's race, but what was your strategy coming in? Obviously, we've seen you up and down the running order, up front, in the rear. What was the thought coming in for you?
Survive, man. I told the children, if I'm in the top 5 when we see the white flag, I like my chances to win this race. And that's basically how I played this, was to make sure I did everything I could to not end up with a damaged race car, out of the race. I have to give myself a chance to be up there at the end of these things if I'm going to win them. And some of these guys out here tonight, they were driving way too hard, 120%, when 80% would have done just fine. And I think that created a lot of problems. But it's just sometimes it's not who's faster or who can go faster, it's who's smarter. And I think tonight being smart really put me in a position to win the race, and probably powered me to a lot of wins last year and probably powered me to more wins this year. It's just sometimes you got to be a little bit smarter than them.
Confidence being a key factor in a lot of these races, and David, it certainly sounds like you have it. Obviously, the children probably pretty hype over there, but looking ahead, what are a couple races you got earmarked on the schedule? What are you looking forward to here down the run?
All 35 goddamn of them, Sean. All 35 of them. I won 12 of these things last year. That's a lot of races to win. A third of the races is a lot to win. I feel like part of me feels a bit of pressure to back up the performance and show it wasn't a fluke. So I'm out here to win races, obviously make the playoffs with the chase, and go defend a championship and try to win back-to-back. But I feel like the Sim 500 Cup Series field has gotten harder. I feel like the level of competition has gone up as I look at some of these names who have come into the series here in 2026. Dylan Jones, Daniel Eberhardt, Ty Bass, Justin Knobloch. And, of course, all the guys that I battled with last year as well, who are only going to get better. So I don't know if 12 wins is even feasible. I think that there's a lot of guys that are going to win races this year, and it's going to be one hell of a fight all the way down to Homestead in November. But all I know is I'm 1 for 1. Everyone else is looking at me again in the standings. The 20 car leading, probably people punching their monitors like Justin Fuller. Can't believe that I won this race, and I don't blame him. I can't believe it either. But the record book's going to show that we won it, Sean, and I couldn't be happier about that. And I got $100 for my efforts tonight, too, so that makes me happy.
Money certainly helps things smooth over some heartburn, and so does the checker flag. Beginning the 2026 season, the way you ended it, bringing home checker flag. David, I know you got a couple people to thank. Who would you like to mention here as we wrap up?
Yeah, I appreciate it. Of course, big thank you to Splash and Go Graphics. New paint scheme this year is something way different than I've ever had. The mint and lavender with the carbon fiber, I think it's a really good looking race car, and it's 1 for 1. It's sitting in victory lane in Daytona, which is great. So I appreciate Cosman and everybody at Splash and Go Graphics for keeping me looking good on the racetrack when we're getting after it. Of course, everyone at twitch.tv/Schildhouse. The children were going crazy tonight. I mean, all the near misses, the wreck avoidances, the win. I mean, I'm so blessed to have just the greatest people supporting me and watching me and tuning in. So big thanks to them, all the children out there. Thank you for them. Big thanks, of course, to Transervice. I'm sorry, that's the Wednesday League. Cook's Landscape Group for their continued support here of the Cup Series. We have so many great partners at Sim 500, I sometimes forget. But Cooks is back. We're happy to have them, so thank you for the support of the series. And Sean, you, of course, Turn 1 Broadcasting, for covering us tonight. Really enjoy the way that you guys cover a race, and going back to watch it, it's going to be a pleasure, and always good to hear your voice. So thank you for everything that you do for us.
Yeah, absolutely, David. Listen, congratulations. Victor here tonight at Daytona. We'll see you, hopefully, win a couple more here down the stretch. And, well, listen, congratulations.
Thank you, buddy. Always good to talk to you, and it's going to be a really fun year. These boys got some catching up to do, but I'm going to go celebrate a Daytona win. Come on!
David Schildhouse, your winner here tonight at Daytona for the Sim 500, Daytona 500X here on Turn 1. What a wild night this all broke out to, man. I don't think anybody thought we would see David Schildhouse at the point, but that's what makes David Schildhouse David Schildhouse. Being there when it matters, being consistent, and really walking away here, or just being smart, and he said it best. And I don't care what you say, confidence can really change a way you act and drive on the track. And well, Schildhouse has found some, and I think this Cooks Landscape Group Cup Series field is in a little bit of trouble. Waiting to see if we can connect with Daniel Eberhardt and Justin Kleber. Both those drivers, a 2-3 finish here tonight at Daytona. And meanwhile, I do want to thank the Sim 500 gang. This is a race that Turn 1 picked up here for Monday nights as a one-off. So it's been a fantastic pleasure there. And special thanks to Joey Jattina for always thinking of Turn 1. And when anytime we want to make sure we're stepping up a race for these guys. And, well, Sim 500, as you can tell, puts on a fantastic show. And I certainly want to encourage anybody to, if you're looking for a place to call home on a race league, head on over to sim500.com for more information. They run the 4 nights a week and all sorts of different levels. Top talent here on Monday nights, the Wednesday night group, Thursday night limited series, a 3,000 iRating cap respected there, a ton of opportunity for a lot of drivers to come racing. sim500.com for more information. We'll give Eberhardt and Kleber just a few more moments here before we call it a wraps. Just as a programming note, Thursday night we go back Green Flag Racing with the NC 811 Limited Series here on Turn 1, 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central. Looking forward to that, and really hope we see you there. If you haven't done so, follow, subscribe, do what you need to, especially on YouTube. Just a few subscribers away from 200. Heck, we may have already made it there. So I want to thank everybody for the wild support there throughout over really the last couple years as we continue to rebuild that YouTube presence. Last call for Daniel Eberhardt and Justin Kleber. If you're on the broadcast, or if you're here with us, we'd love to talk with you. Otherwise, we're going to call it a night here. A fantastic race in the books at Daytona. Some cautions out there, but you're going to get that with some super speedway racing. What you certainly saw here tonight was the level of racing and caliber. And obviously, Schildhouse mentioned some decisions maybe questionable, but you're not going to win these races by sitting back on 35th for most of the night. You certainly have an opportunity, but it's you're not going to learn anything. And David Schildhouse really showed that you can be in the mix, still be involved in a couple things, but ultimately walk away with the checkered flag. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up here tonight on Turn 1. Want to just make sure we're not going to see Eberhardt there and Kleber come down into the broadcast. That'll be okay. We're going to wrap it up again. Congratulations to David Schildhouse, the children. Twitch.tv/Schildhouse. I always give him a plug. Just his stream's a fun watch. If you've not been there before, make sure you tune in every Monday night when he's Cooks Landscape Group Cup Series racing. You're not going to want to miss that. And congratulations to Daniel Eberhardt. A strong run here tonight. One of the only drivers I've seen be able to control both lanes at Daytona in this next-gen car. And then again, for that 34 car, Justin Kleber bringing home a top 3. With that, we'll wrap up race coverage. On behalf of the league admins, I'm Sean Fitz. Thanks so much for being here. We'll see you next time for more racing action. Good night, everybody.